I pulled the trigger on my own life that Christmas Eve, not with a gun, but with a single, venomous word spat across the turkey carcass. You're nothing but a goddamn parasite.
Sage.
Always have been. My brother Harlan's voice cracked like ice under boots, his eyes gleaming with that fake holiday cheer masking pure contempt. And in that split-second echo, as Mom's crystal wine glass shattered on the hardwood floor, I realized I'd been carrying his sins on my back for 15 years, like a junkie hauling bricks.
And tonight,
the load finally snapped. What nobody saw coming, what even I didn't see coming until the whiskey burned through my veins, was how I'd flipped the script by dawn. Not with fists or cops, but by unearthing the grave we'd both dug in the backyard of our childhood home in Elmwood, Ohio. Harlan thought he was the kingpin of our fractured family empire. He didn't know I'd been sharpening my knife in the dark, waiting for the lights to dim. The snow started falling harder outside, blanketing the cul-de-sac in that deceptive Midwestern hush, the kind that smothers screams. Harlan laughed then, a bark that rattled the tinsel on the tree, and raised his glass like we'd just shared a joke. To family, he toasted, his trophy wife, Lena, giggling nervously beside him. But I wasn't laughing. I was remembering the night he handed me the bloody tire iron and whispered, "You're the screw-up anyway.
Sage.
Take the fall, and I'll make it worth your while."
Lies.
All of it, from the first betrayal to this. That was the hook that sank deepest. Harlan, my big brother, the golden boy who'd clawed our way out of Dad's bankruptcy and Mom's pill haze, had sold me out for a corner office in Chicago. And now, as the clock ticked toward midnight, I was done playing the loyal fool. The drive back from Elmwood to my cramped apartment in Cleveland felt like crawling through a bad dream, the highway lights smearing into red and green blurs against the windshield. Harlan's words looped in my head like a busted cassette tape. Loser. It wasn't the first time he'd slung it my way, but tonight it landed different, nuclear. Fallout and all. I'd spent the holidays like I always did, showing up with a bottle of bourbon and a smile that didn't reach my eyes, playing the role of the black sheep who still loved his flock. Mom hugged me tight, her perfume a mix of Chanel No. 5 and regret, whispering, "He's just stressed."
Honey.
Harlan's got the weight of the world.
Yeah.
The weight he dumped on me. 15 years ago. We were 22 and 25. Fresh out of community college with stars in our eyes and Dad's old garage as our startup lab. Harlan had the charm, the pitch-perfect smiles that closed deals. I had the grit, the late-night soldering circuits for our revolutionary home security gadget. We called it Safe Haven, a cheap alarm system for folks like us, scraping by in Rust Belt towns where break-ins were as common as blizzards. Investors bit. And just like that, we were on the cusp. But Harlan got greedy. He cooked the books, siphoned demo funds into a side hustle with some shady Chicago venture capitalist named Rocco Vitale. When the feds came knocking, wire fraud, embezzlement pinned on falsified prototypes, it was Harlan who shoved the smoking gun into my hands. "Sign this confession, Sage," he'd said that humid July night in the garage, sweat beading on his forehead like he was the one drowning. "It's a misdemeanor if you take the plea. I'll bail you out, set you up with a job at the new firm. Think of Mom, she can't handle another scandal." I signed. God, I signed because he was Harlan, the brother who'd pulled me out of locker room beatings in high school, who'd shared his last Marlboro when Dad kicked us out at 16. I did 18 months in county, emerging with a record that slammed every door. No loans, no gigs, just odd jobs wiring houses for minimum wage. Harlan? He pivoted, rebranded Safe Haven as his solo brainchild, cashed in on the patents I'd co-invented, and climbed to VP at Vitaly's tech conglomerate. Family first, he'd toast at reunions, clinking glasses while I nursed a beer in the corner. But secrets fester like untreated wounds in Ohio winters. I'd known about Lena for months, the texts I glimpsed on his phone during Thanksgiving, the way she'd linger too long when we Skyped about Mom's chemo bills. Lena was my ex, the girl I'd dated through juvie letters and parole check-ins, the one who promised, "We'll build something real."
Sage.
No more ghosts. She'd bailed when the ink dried on my release papers, ghosting me for a fresh start. Turns out, that start was in Harlan's bed, their wedding announcement hitting my inbox like a sucker punch 6 months later. Surprise.
Bro.
She's the best thing since sliced bread. Sliced bread my ass. She was the knife. I slammed the apartment door, the deadbolt clicking like a judge's gavel. The place was a shoebox, peeling wallpaper from the 70s, a kitchenette that smelled of yesterday's ramen, and a Murphy bed that creaked like my regrets. I cracked the bourbon, Maker's Mark, Harlan's favorite, and scrolled through old photos on my phone. There we were, kids on the shores of Lake Erie, skipping stones and dreaming of Silicon Valley knockoffs. Cut to now. Him in a tailored wool coat, Armani tie loose after board meetings, me in flannel and Carhartt, knuckles scarred from framing drywall. Loser. The word burned hotter than the booze. By 2 a.m., the plan crystallized, born from too many true crime podcasts and a lifetime of swallowed pride. Revenge wasn't about matching his corporate sleaze. It was surgical. A blade slipped between ribs. I'd start with the buried secret, the one Harlan thought 6 feet under with Dad's rusted toolbox. That tire iron from the night of the accident. Not the fraud bust, but the real crime, the hidden run that killed Tommy Ruiz, our old mechanic buddy who'd caught wind of Harlan's side deal and threatened to whistleblow. Tommy had been family too, greasy hands fixing our prototypes for free, crashing on our couch after his wife split. One foggy October dawn, Harlan borrowed Dad's old Ford. Borrowed being code for test drive to Chicago for the meet. He clipped Tommy en route too, swerving to dodge a deer but too drunk on adrenaline and cheap scotch to stop. He jumped out like a maniac, Harlan sobbed to me later, shoving the bloodied iron into my lap, the tool Tommy used to bash the grill in a rage-fueled argument days prior. Plan it at your place.
Sage.
Cops still think it was you. Some jealous beef. I'll handle the rest, alibi.
Cleanup.
You're clean, right? No priors. I wasn't clean. I was complicit. I hid the iron in the backyard under that oak tree, the one Mom planted after Dad's heart attack. Told the cops it was a ghost story, a tool from a botched repair. Tommy's death got ruled accidental, driver fled. No prints. Case cold. Harlan walked. Launched Safe Haven on the insurance payout from the wrecked Ford. I carried the guilt like a tumor, waking in sweats, seeing Tommy's crooked grin in every rear view. But not anymore. Dawn broke gray and unforgiving, the kind of Cleveland light that promised nothing but slush. I grabbed my toolkit, crowbar, gloves, a flashlight that doubled as a stun gun, and hit the road back to Elmwood. Harlan's McMansion loomed on the hill, a faux colonial monstrosity with a 3-car garage and security cams I'd helped install. Ironic, right? The Safe Haven prototype guarding the wolf's den. The backyard was a winter wonderland of neglect, overgrown evergreens dusted in frost, the oak's branches clawing at the sky like arthritic fingers. Mom was in hospice now, pumped full of morphine in a facility Harlan paid for with my silence money. Family first, he'd say, wiring me just enough to keep the lights on. I dropped to my knees, the frozen earth resisting like it knew my sins, and started digging. Shovel bit into soil. Each thrust a fuck you to the brother who'd branded me. 2 feet down, the burlap sack emerged, mildewed and heavy. Inside, the iron, still crusted with what forensics would call organic residue. Tommy's blood. Harlan's lie. I zipped it into my duffel, heart hammering like a jackrabbit. Phase 1, evidence. Phase 2, the leak. I had Rocco Vitale's ear, or rather,
His ego.
a quick scroll through LinkedIn ghosts, and I fired off an anonymous tip from a burner email. Ask your VP about the Ruiz cold case. Safe Haven's foundation is built on a grave. By noon, my phone buzzed, unknown number. Harlan's voice. Oily as ever. Sage? What the hell did you do? Rocco's on my ass about some bullshit audit. I let the silence stretch, savoring it like black coffee. Merry Christmas, brother. Looks like Santa's got your number. He laughed, but it was hollow, the sound of a man tasting rust. You think this is funny? You're digging your own hole. Loser. Always were. Not this time. I hung up, the duffel thumping against the passenger seat like a heartbeat. Elmwood faded in the rear view, but the real storm was brewing in Chicago. Harlan's empire was about to crack, and I'd be the fault line. The interstate hummed under my tires, radio crackling with some alt-rock dirge about lost brothers and burning bridges. Lena texted then, first time in years. Heard about the family drama. You okay? I deleted it unread. She was his now, part of the machine that ground me down. But secrets have a way of circling back, and hers was the sharpest blade in my kit. Chicago hit like a fever dream. All steel girders and wind that whipped off Lake Michigan, carrying the faint tang of industry and regret. I'd crashed at a no-tell-motel off I-90. The kind with hourly rates and stains you didn't ask about. Nursing a hangover from the adrenaline crash. Harlan's call had been the appetizer. Now came the main course. I suited up, borrowed blazer from a thrift shop, slacks that itched like guilt, and headed to the Vitale Tower. A glass monolith piercing the loop like a middle finger to the sky. Rocco Vitale wasn't the mustache-twirling mobster of Scorsese flicks. He was worse, a venture shark in bespoke Tom Ford, with a corner office overlooking the river and a Rolodex of politicians on speed dial. I'd met him once, back when Safe Haven was our shared delusion, his handshake firm as a contract clause. Kid, he'd said, clapping my shoulder. You and Harlan? You're the next Jobs and Wozniak. Don't fuck it up. I didn't, Harlan did, and I ate the blame. Security waved me through after a white lie about an internal referral, Harlan's own system, hacked via a backdoor I'd coded in as an Easter egg. The elevator dinged on the 42nd floor, disgorging me into a lobby of marble and malice. Receptionists in pencil skirts eyeing me like fresh meat. Mister. Vitale's expecting you. One purred, nails tapping her keyboard.
Sage Harlan, I lied.
Flashing a forged badge from my juvie days, laminated relic. But it bought me 5 minutes. Rocco's assistant buzzed me in, and there he was, feet up on a desk the size of a Buick, cigar smoke curling like a question mark. Sage, the ghost brother. Harlan mentioned you might drop by. Something about family history. I dropped the duffel on his desk, the thud echoing like Judgment Day. Unzipped it slow, letting the burlap spill, tire iron, rusted but unmistakable, with a baggie of scraped residue I'd collected that morning. This is the history you invested in. Tommy Ruiz, 2009. Harlan's roadkill. He framed me for the cover-up, misdemeanor possession. But it tanked my life. Your golden boy. He's built on bones. Rocco's eyes narrowed, cigar pausing mid-puff. He wasn't shocked. Sharks smell blood blocks away. And you're telling me this why? Revenge porn? Harlan's my top earner, Safe Haven's half my portfolio. Because you're smarter than him, I said, leaning in, voice steady as like ice. He flips like a politician, loyal one day, snake the next. Remember the side hustle? He cut you out too. Funneled funds to offshore ghosts. This. I tapped the iron. Leverage. Audit him clean. Or this hits the Sun Times with your name attached as the enabler. He chuckled, low and gravelly, but his fingers drummed the desk, tell of a man recalculating odds.
Bold. Kid.
Stupid, but bold. Harlan's got dirt on everyone, including me. What makes you think I won't bury you deeper? I slid a USB across the blotter. Files I'd pieced together over years of FOIA requests and barroom whispers. Bank transfers. Deleted emails recovered via a shady IT buddy from county. Because this buries him first. And you're the white knight who saved the company from a fraudster. PR gold. Rocco pocketed the drive, waving for his assistant. Get Harlan in here.
Now.
As she scurried out, he fixed me with a stare that could curdle milk. You walk away clean, Sage? Or is this your ticket back in? I shrugged, the loser's nonchalance I'd perfected. Clean's relative. Just want what's mine, the patents, the equity he stole. And maybe a front row seat to his fall. Harlan burst in 20 minutes later. Face thundercloud red. Lena trailing like a nervous shadow. What the fuck? Sage? You think this is cute? Breaking into my goddamn past. He lunged, but Rocco's hand shot up, halting him mid-stride. Sit, Vitaly growled, and Harlan did, perching on the edge like a scolded spaniel. Lena hovered by the door, her eyes darting guilt,
Fear?
Or just the instinct of a survivor scenting shift. I laid it out cold, the hidden run, the frame, the fraud. Harlan denied at first, sputtering about misunderstandings and jealous little brother syndrome. But the evidence piled like snowdrifts, and Rocco's face hardened with each revelation. You used my money to hush a corpse? Christ. Harlan, I thought you were ambitious. Not a fucking amateur. It's not like that. Harlan wheeled on me, veins bulging. Sage was in on it, the garage fights,
The debts.
He begged me to handle Tommy. This is his play for a payout. Rocco. Don't let the loser drag us down. Loser. There it was again. The barb that hooked my rage. I stood, slow, letting the room feel my shadow. You handed me the iron.
Harlan.
Made me your scapegoat so you could play tycoon. Mom's dying because you cheaped out on her care. Wire transfers to your Cayman slush fund instead. And Lena? I turned to her, voice dropping to a whisper that cut. You knew. The text you sent me before the wedding? He's lying about everything.
Sage.
But I'm scared. Scared enough to stay. She flinched, color draining. That was complicated. Harlan promised. Promises, I echoed, bitter as bile. Like the one you broke with me. Rocco slammed his palm down, the desk jumping. Enough soap opera. Harlan, you're suspended. pending full audit. Lena, sweetheart, you're collateral. Sign this NDA or find new representation. He slid papers across. A pen that screamed finality. Harlan signed, seething, but his eyes on me were daggers, promise of payback. As we filed out, he cornered me in the hall, breath hot and whiskey sour. You think this ends it? I'll ruin you.
Sage.
Family or not. Family, I shot back, is what you killed on that road. Merry fucking Christmas. The loop swallowed me as I hit the street. Wind howling triumph and terror in equal measure. My phone lit up. Mom's nurse. Voice soft. She's asking for you.
Sage.
And Harlan. I pocketed it. Hailing a cab to O'Hare. Phase 3. The twist. But first, a detour to Elmwood. Some graves needed reopening. Back in Ohio by dusk, the hospice smelled of antiseptic and pine air freshener. A cruel holiday mashup. Mom lay small in her bed, tubes snaking like accusations, her eyes fluttering open at my touch. My boys, she murmured, mistaking me for both. Always fighting over nothing. Not nothing.
Ma.
I squeezed her hand, brittle as autumn leaves. Harlan's coming. We need to talk. He arrived an hour later. Disheveled, tie askew. No coat in the sleet. Lena waited in the hall, scrolling her phone like it held salvation. Mom rallied then, a spark in her gaze. Tell her.
Harlan.
About Tommy. He froze. The room shrinking.
Ma.
That's old news. Sage is stirring shit.
No.
Her voice. A rasp but iron. I knew. The night you came home shaking. Blood on your cuffs. Thought it was Sage's mess. Like always. But I saw the Ford.
The dents.
Buried it for you.
Son.
Like I buried your father's debts. Harlan deflated, sinking into the chair. Why didn't you say? Because you're my heart, she whispered. Both of you. But lies. They rot us. I laid the iron on the tray table. A relic unearthed. No more rotting.
Ma.
It's out. She nodded. Tears carving paths. Fix it. For me. Harlan's glare met mine over her form, not hate. But something fractured. What now? Sage, you win. Not about winning. I stood, the weight lifting like fog. About truth. Vitaly's got the files. Cops next. If you don't come clean. He laughed. Broken. And go down for manslaughter? Lose everything. Everything you stole, I corrected. Start over. Like I did. Lena slipped in then, hand on his shoulder. He's right.
Harlan.
We can. Shut up. He shrugged her off.
Wild.
This is your fault. Digging up ghosts. You think I don't know about your little chats with Sage? Playing both sides. She paled. I was trying to help. Before it swallowed us, the room spun into chaos, accusations flying. Mom's monitors beeping protest. Harlan stormed out, Lena chasing, leaving me with her fading breath. Proud of you, Sage, Mom said, eyes closing. My real fixer. She slipped away at 11:47 p.m., Christmas Eve folding into loss. I called the nurse. Numb. Then Harlan. No answer. But his voicemail lit up mine. You happy now? She's gone because of you.
No.
Because of us. And the night wasn't over. The funeral was a farce. Elmwood Presbyterian packed with Harlan Chicago suits rubbing elbows with Mom's Bridge Club widows. All murmuring about tragic timing over lukewarm punch. I stood at the back in my one black tie, borrowed from the motel clerk. Watching Harlan work the room like a wake was a networking mixer. She fought hard, he'd say, clasping hands, his grief a performance Oscar-worthy. Lena clung to his arm, the picture of devoted widow-in-law. But her eyes found mine across the pews, pleading silent questions. I ignored her, focusing on the casket. Simple oak. No frills. Just like Mom wanted. "Bury me quick," she joked once, "before these boys turn it into a circus." Prophetic. The minister droned about eternal lights and holiday miracles, but all I heard was the creak of that tire iron in my bag, stashed in the coat check. Phase 4. The confrontation. Not here, amid the lilies and lies, but at the graveside, where Elmwood Cemetery's hills rolled like frozen waves under a leaden sky. The procession snaked out post-service, a line of Buicks and Suburbans churning mud. Harlan rode up front in the hearse's shadow, me trailing in a rented Impala that smelled of cigarettes and false starts. At the plot, next to Dad's, under that same oak whose roots I'd violated, I hung back, letting the crowd thin. Rocco Vitale showed, surprisingly, a lone wolf in cashmere, nodding curtly as he passed. "Harlan's out tomorrow." Clean break, for now. His eyes flicked to me. Approval? Warning? In his world. Lines blurred. Dusk bled purple as the last eulogy faded, mourners dispersing to potlucks and pity. Harlan lingered, tossing a rose with theatrical flourish. Lena snapping a photo for the gram, remembering Mom family forever. I approached then, gravel crunching under boots, the duffel slung casual. "Nice send-off," I said, voice low. She'd hate the Instagram filter. He spun, face a mass cracking. "Fuck off.
Sage."
You got your pound of flesh, Mom's dead. My job's toast." Happy? Not yet. I unzipped the bag, the iron glinting dull in the fading light. A groundskeeper paused mid-shovel, but Lena waved him off with a brittle smile. Family matter. Harlan's gaze locked on the relic, color draining. "You brought that here? To her grave? You're sicker than I thought." Sick. I stepped closer, the air thick with frostbite chill. "You left me to rot for this." Tommy's family, his kids 20 now, working double shifts at the mill, causes old man's ghost pays shit reparations. "You owe them." "Us." He glanced at Lena, who hovered like a referee, then back. "Oh, I built this safe haven."
"The house."
"Mom's care." You wired doghouses while I closed millions. With my patents, I snarled, heat rising despite the cold. "My code." "And Tommy's trust." "Sign this." I thrust a folder from the bag, divorce papers for the company, equity split 50/50ths, plus a confession draft for the cops. Voluntary manslaughter plea. 5 years. Maybe less with good behavior. Vitalio Backett. Quiet settlement. Lena gasped. "Harlan. Listen. It's a way out. We start fresh."
"We."
He rounded on her. Venom pure. "You slinking back to Sage. That's your fresh?" I saw the messages. "Lena. Miss you. Wish it was different. While I'm busting ass. You're nostalgia fucking my jailbird brother?" Her face crumpled, tears freezing on lashes. "It wasn't God. Harlan, you're twisting it. I stayed because you promised change. But you're the same, lies on lies. The groundskeeper cleared his throat, shovel poised. But I waved him silent. This was our Colosseum, gladiators in grief. Harlan laughed. Manic. Change? Like you changed. Lena, from Sage's doormat to my arm candy? Pathetic. Enough. I shoved the folder into his chest. Sign. Or I walk it to the station myself. Tommy's files reopened. Anonymous tip. Remember? DA's hungry for cold cases. He snatched it, pages crumpling. You destroy us? For what, vindication? Mom's rolling in her grave. She's why I'm offering the pen. Wind howled, scattering petals like confetti from hell. Lena stepped between us. Hands out. Stop. Both of you. This poison, it's killing what's left. Harlan's hand shot out, grabbing her wrist, not hard, but enough to bruise egos. What's left? You mean your side hustle with him? He released her.
Turning to me. Fine.
You want the truth? Tommy wasn't an accident. He was gonna rat to Rocco. Tank the deal. I swerved, barely clipped him. But he rolled, hit his head on that guardrail. Iron was from the argument.
Yeah.
But I planted it to throw scent. You took the heat like a champ. Little bro. My champ. The admission hung. A guillotine blade. Not accident, calculated. My stomach twisted. You murdered him. Survival, he hissed. Like I survived Dad's shadow. Your screw-ups. Sign? Fuck your terms. I'll fight lawyers, media. Paint you as the vengeful ex-con stalking his success. Lena backed away, eyes wide. Harlan. No. He ignored her, advancing. Or better, tell the world about Lena. How she knew about Tommy. Helped me launder the insurance through her gallery gig. Accomplice. Baby. She whirled. Liar. I found out later. Begged you to confess. That's why I reached out to Sage. To fix it. Fix it by screwing him behind my back? His voice cracked. The tycoon facade shattering. I saw the kid then. The one who'd hotwired Dad's truck for joyrides. Not empires. The shovel clanged, groundskeeper fleeing. Distant sirens wailed. Chicago commuter bleed. I gripped the iron, not raising it, but feeling its weight. Justice or madness. Last chance. Harlan. He lunged, not for the folder.
But me.
Fists flying in a blur of brotherly brawl. We grappled, tumbling into the half-dug earth beside Mom's plot, mud sucking at clothes. Lena screamed. Stop, but it was white noise. His elbow cracked my jaw. Copper blooming. I drove a knee into his gut. Wind hoofing out. Traitor, he gasped, pinning me. Always the weak link. Weak. I bucked, flipping him, iron forgotten in the frenzy. I carried you. Lena yanked at his collar. Harlan, please think of the baby. Time froze.
Baby?
Her hand drifted to her belly. Subtle swell under the coat. Harlan stilled, eyes bulging. What? I'm pregnant, she whispered, tears streaming. 8 weeks. Yours.
Or
ours. If we end this. The twist gutted me, not mine.
Couldn't be.
But the what-if poisoned the air. Harlan released me, scrambling back, face ashen. Bullshit. You're lying to save his ass. Ultrasound in my purse, she said. voice steel. But fight now? Lose it all, including this. He sagged, defeated, the fight leaching out like blood from a nick. Sirens grew. Cops? Paramedics? Didn't matter. Give me the pen, he muttered. Hand out. I handed it over, watching him scrawl surrender on the confession. The equity split. Lena exhaled, hand protective on her bump. Victory? Or just another layer of rot? As blue lights flashed the hill, Rocco's black SUV pulled up, smooth as sin. Heard the commotion. Clean exit.
Boys.
His gaze took in the mud. The papers. Signs sealed. Harlan, you're done. Sage, welcome aboard. Junior partner. If you play nice. Harlan handed back the folder.
Eyes dead.
Tell the DA. It was me. All me. Cuffs clicked later. Under sodium lamps. But no cameras, no spectacle. Lena chose him. Or the baby did. Riding to the station in the cruiser.
Me?
I walked free. Iron surrendered. But the weight lingered. Cleveland welcomed me back with sleet and silence. The apartment unchanged, but me, fractured. Vitali's offer sat and signed on the table, 6 figures. Corner office echo. But as I cracked a beer, staring at Mom's obituary on my phone, doubt crept. Had I avenged? Or just orphaned another kid? Harlan's seed. Lena's choice. Family's curse. Looping eternal. Months blurred into a hazy spring. Lake Erie's thaw mirroring the slow melt of my rage. Safe haven, now Sage Tech, hummed under my tentative helm. Vitali strings attached like a puppeteer's grin. Junior partner meant boardrooms in Chicago twice a week. Schmoozing the suits who'd once sneer at my record. Redemption arc, Rocco called it. Toasting with single malt in his tower. Harlan was the spark. You're the fire. Bullshit poetry. But it paid the mortgage on a new place, 2-bedroom in Shaker Heights. With a view of actual trees. Not just exhaust stacks. Harlan's plea deal landed him in a low SEC upstate. 24 months with work release, manslaughter. Fraud adjunct. He wrote once. Block letters on lined paper. You were right. Rots out. Tell the kid about his uncle, the good parts. No mention of Lena.
Or the baby.
I burned it. Ashes scattering in the wind off my balcony. Good parts? Like the summers teaching me to fish. Or the winters forging circuits by flashlight.
Ghosts. All.
Lena vanished post-arrest. Radio silence, thicker than Ohio fog. Whispers from her gallery crowd. She sold out. Moved west. Portland? Seattle? Chasing. Artistic rebirth, with a swollen belly and no ring. I stalked her Insta once. Burner account. Saw the bump in silhouette against crashing waves. Caption. New beginnings. Mama Bear. No tags. No Harlan. My thumb hovered over message, but I swiped away. What right did I have? The ex who couldn't keep her. Or the brother who toppled her world. The twist hit on a muggy June afternoon. Vitali Tower humming with merger buzz. My assistant, sharp kid named Tarek, fresh from Northwestern, buzzed me. Family call. Mr.
Sage.
Says it's urgent. I assumed parole board. Or Mom's estate finalizing. Instead, Lena's voice. Crackling from a Boise area code. Sage, don't hang up. Please. I didn't. Where are you?
Safe.
For now.
Pause.
Breath shaky. It's a girl. Nora after Mom. Born last month. Healthy. But Harlan, he's pushing from inside. Lawyers sniffing around custody, painting me the gold digger who bolted. I leaned back, cityscape blurring. And you want what? My signature on a birth cert. A laugh. Bitter.
No.
Protection. The confession, he named me in addendums. Accomplice after the fact, he called it. If he flips for leniency. Flips. The word ignited old fuses. Harlan. Scheming from stripes. Trading Lena's freedom for his. Why me? Because you fixed it once.
And.
The baby's yours. Sage. The line went dead silent. My world tilting. 8 weeks at the funeral, timeline math screamed Harlan. But her voice cracked with truth. The affair, she whispered. Before the wedding. One night. After you visited. I was weak.
Lost.
Harlan never knew. Lies on lies. Or the ultimate hook, redemption wrapped in deception. Proof. I managed. Voice raw. DNA kit in the mail. Trust me. Or don't. But he's coming for us.
Us.
The word hooked deep. I hung up, staring at the equity papers, my empire, built on his ruins. Polarizing? Hell yes. Was I the hero who'd unearthed truth? Or the villain who'd orphaned a niece/nephew for a corner office? Readers, hell, me, would argue till dawn. Justice served. Or just another betrayal in brotherly drag. Rocco knocked then. Cigar in teeth. Heard the drama. Harlan's appealing, naming names. Yours included. If you don't play ball on the merger. I stood, folder in hand.
Sign.
And bury the past deeper. Or torch it all. Ride west to Boise. Claim a family forged in fire. The decision burned. No easy right. But as sirens wailed below, Eternal Chicago Symphony, I grabbed my coat. Not for the office, but the highway. Truth wasn't buried anymore. It was chasing me, baby in tow. In the end, family wasn't blood or boardrooms. It was the grave we chose to dig or fill. Harlan's cell awaited his flip, mine? Open road. Nora's cry a distant echo. Happy? Tragic?
You tell me.
The losers finally winning. But at what cost? I fired off the unsigned papers to Rocco via courier. Tires already humming west. Tell Harlan. I texted Lena. Uncle Sage is coming. And this time, no more secrets. The sunset bled red over Indiana. A canvas of controversy. Everything changed overnight.
All right.
But the real storm? Just breaking.